The fifth batch of UFO files dropped today by the Pentagon. And you look, more information, more chatter, more talk. I looked at some of these things. We'll go over some of the stuff. We're going to read one of these articles that was put out there. There's a lot of files that I thought were interesting, but more so of the files. And there were, again, footage. And a lot of the footage is stuff that you go, well, what's that? That's interesting. But nothing like clear cut, like we've been hoping for, right? There's things that have been very interesting and things that renderings and other things. And I always find the renderings fascinating too. Of it's not some of the renderings you can go, well, that's just someone that says they saw something. Yeah, but it's who said that they saw something. A lot of military and other things that it's good to get a rendering of these particular things that these people are seeing. But I want to read this article first by CBS News and check it out. The Pentagon releases a new batch of UFO files. Did you see that? Washington, the Pentagon, and Friday released a new batch of documents and images related to UFOs, also known as UAP, including a military pilot's recollection of a huge, strange triangle that blocked out the stars over Afghanistan in 2002. That's very interesting to me. The 41 new files posted on the Pentagon's UFO website, including a mix of documents, images, and videos. The records came from the Pentagon, FBI, CIA, State Department, and Executive Office of the President, with the oldest being from 1950 and the most recent being from this year. The disclosure is the fifth release under an executive order President Trump signed back in January, directing the military and other agencies to produce more documents and related to UFOs. Now, as far as what's in the new UFO files, the bulk of Friday's release include the type of grainy videos that have been the hallmark of past disclosures showing flying objects captured by military sensors and cameras. That's what I was talking about earlier. 6 of the videos show different versions of the same incident and an encounter over the Gulf of Oman by Special Operations Forces on an AC-13J gunship in September of 2021. The clips are cell phone videos of screens on the gunship showing objects picked up by its infrared and other sensors. An accompanying intelligence report sheds more light on the footage. The report said the forces on board the gunship observed approximately 25 instances of UAPs while conducting a live fire exercise in the Gulf of Oman. The UAPs were observed as cold orbs flying at lower altitudes between 250 to 1,300 miles per hour in different formations, as well as maneuvering aggressively. UAPs also appeared to react to the aircraft firing its main cannon, the report said. The encounter could not be resolved by the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the Pentagon UAP investigative arm. You can see one of those videos right there. You can see the back and forth. And we've seen videos like this in the past, right? With these things that are kind of zipping back and forth and kind of maneuvering. And then you see some more. One clip submitted by the U.S. Central Command shows footage captured by a military aircraft over a populated area in the Middle East in the 2025. The video shows what appears to be an object zooming across the screen. The incident also remains unresolved. There's another one right there. You see, this is, again, similar footage that we've seen in the past, but more of it, which seems, it's not like just these isolated incidents. All right, now, just what Mick West said, it's a balloon. But you can see that right there. That's why they would report this, why this would be in a balloon would be in this file, all the balloons, the balloon files. Sorry, I digress. Another video shows footage captured by U.S. government special agent in the western U.S. this year. The Pentagon said the video features 2 slow-moving black hot areas of contrast visible in infrared imaging. A particularly redacted report about the encounter said the agent received a report about a radio frequency being detected and soon pointed a handheld infrared sensor in its direction. He saw a black object in the sky. It was not moving fast. He took pictures using the optical device. While observing, he saw a second object to the right of the first and took additional photos/videos. The objects were moving together at the same speed, the FBI report said. Both were black hot. He lost view of the objects when they traveled a distance out of view. Total observation time was approximately 5 to 10 minutes. Friday's release includes 8 302 forms, which the FBI uses to record the details of witness interviews. All 8 include redactions to shield confidential information, and most are paired with artist renderings from the Bureau showing the objects that the witness described. Others were released alongside video footage that the interviewees captured, showing what appears to be orbs and other light sources in the sky. Now, I've seen things similar to that. in the sky, kind of moving around, zipping. Then I posted it a long time ago on this. Not on this channel, different channel. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's anything except, maybe, or it could be the same thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's anything otherworldly. But it's interesting to say the least. One noteworthy 302 report records an interview with a former military pilot in 2024. The pilot told an agent that military pilots began seeing strange lights in the sky between midnight and 3 a.m. the year before. The pilot said he first saw the lights during a flight from Massachusetts to Ireland in October of 2023. Redacted was an elevation of 37,000 feet and believed the lights were higher than him, probably at 50,000 feet or higher. The lights were white in color, would start out as dim and get brighter before they eventually faded out, the report said. The full cycle of the lights would range from 10 seconds to 1 minute. Pilot said he saw the lights roughly 10 times after the first experience. He told the agents about something he saw while serving in Afghanistan in 2002. He said at approximately 4:30 a.m. local time, he had noticed that the stars were getting blackened out over Bagram. It appeared as if something huge went overhead. From west to east, it was an equilateral triangle shape. The object was moving silently at a consistent speed and altitude, possibly 150 knots, with no lights visible. Pilot estimated it was 500 feet in size. You can see the rendering right here. But he could not fully see the shape of the object. He reported that the pilot he was with also observed the triangle, and when it passed over, stated, "Did you see that?" The FBI produced this artist's rendering of the object. I had heard something similar than that as well when it comes to the Afghanistan sighting. So I wonder if it's the same. The Pentagon said that Friday's document disclosure won't be the last under Mr. Trump's executive order, with the spokesman saying the department will release additional files on a rolling basis. Just to go over again with the actual videos themselves, as you can see here, again, as we mentioned earlier before, it's similar to things that we've seen in the past, where it's like, it's interesting stuff. Nothing, again, you see this, we've seen things like this before, right? With the zipping light back and forth. Like, this has been in other videos and other similar videos of a light that just is not moving. Like what is that? And clearly, if it's in these files, enough to be in a files released by the government, then they thought, like, and there's this dot that's moving back and forth too, zipping back and forth, that they think that it's relevant enough to put them in these files themselves. Because I don't want to hear about, it's a balloon, it's this, why would it be in here? Why would it be in here? Oh, because they have to report all this stuff. Get that out of my face. This is, to me, there's something else to this, to what this potentially could be. But unfortunately, again, it just gives too much merit to anybody who wants to say, I mean, it's like, look at this. You see it kind of zipping back and forth. And these are these kind of fascinating things of, like, we just don't know what it is. It's just not clear enough. It's just not clear enough. It's, the fact that they have this is the one that's over the Gulf of Oman, which I mentioned earlier. And, they have a lock on it, and they want to see what the hell it is. And they put this in their files. And you have the fact that whatever it is out there, and however far away that this could be, that this thing is zipping back and forth like that and maneuvering that particular way, if it is something otherworldly. Now, what the hell was that? That's what I want to know. What was that? Other things, like, if it is otherworldly, like the fact that these things can move like that, if it is indeed a type of ship that can just defy the way physics work, and that it is able to zip back and forth, it's like Flight of the Navigator type stuff. That goes on for a bit. And then they switch to, like, this one again. And this is where, like I said, I can understand, even in the beginning of the article, it's very similar to things that we've seen before. It's like, it's just something you're trying to make out, like, what is that? And and as I mentioned earlier, if you give merit to people who say, well, that's not anything otherworldly, that's not machinery, it's just gas, it's a balloon, it's this. And as much as I think that's lunacy and ridiculous and clickbait stuff, it's hard. You can't fight them on it, because I don't know what that is. You could tell me that's like, you could tell me that's under a microscope. That's what that is. You could say, well, this is actually someone under a microscope moving and seeing, like, blood cells move or something. Like, oh, is that what that is? Again, it's in the file. It's interesting. It's intriguing, but it doesn't necessarily do anything to, get this to be the topic that everyone's talking about on the news first thing. And this is granted, this has been covered today. This dump of the footage, but again, not like groundbreaking stuff to admission of anything else except we still don't know what these things are. This is similar too, but this is a little more clear, even though it's dark. It's a little more clear than what we saw. And this is the one over the Pacific Ocean in 2019, as you see there, and it is moving at a, they're still zipping back and forth and moving at this type of speed, but it looks just a little bit more clear with those bright lights. Now, the argument here is for them. The argument here could be it's different technology, it's drones, it's whatever it might be. The problem, again, is it just isn't clear enough. Okay, now this is, again, we've seen footage similar to this, but this was the one that we've seen something like orbs and things that have been over here, and this is the Middle East, and it does seem like the Middle East that we've seen things similar to this, and this was the one that you see like that. They can't even keep up with it. It's going so fast. Now, I think they say catch it here as it's tracking about that. There it is. Now they have it. Now they're kind of locked onto it and seeing kind of what that is. Keep your eye on it. And they see this kind of tearing through there, but just repeating myself here. It's just it's fascinating, but you just need such a closer kind of close up on what the hell it is exactly. Now, as they change into this blue here, now you get it at this kind of, look at the way it's maneuvering, right? And that's what this is where I would definitely combat against the stupid balloon argument, because in the way that it's kind of zigzagging, and it's not like this is not floating. It's zigzagging and moving at a really fast speed here, and now it's just kind of going straight in a straight line there, like that. Like, you're definitely going to get the stupid balloon comment. I guarantee if it already hasn't come out, I'd love to hear it. But like, look how fast that thing's going. Balloon, stupid. And then there's this. There's this other footage here too, which is it's like they're locked into that. Look at the way they lock into it. It's like freaking Star Wars. It's just so frustrating. Now there's another one that kind of zipped by, but near the water. You see how fast that thing went. And they're trying to track it there. Now, this has always been the potential that, these things are there's underwater bases and things, and that's why they always are caught right above the water, or seen above the water rather. And they have a lock on it there. And so it's maneuvering itself a little bit more, but same thing, just not clear enough to really get what it is. All right, definitely a lot there, obviously, with the files. We didn't even dive into the deeper files of what's going on. You should look at it. You can, if you follow UAP James, you follow any of these great Twitter accounts that follow the subject, Skywatch Signal and other people, that you can, on X, you can go and you can check out the full files and just spend hours there looking through the stuff that's been documented. And I think it's all fascinating. And if you follow my channel, you know where I stand as far, and I feel like you have to approach this topic in a middle ground type of way, because you can't be on the full believe everything you hear thing, because there's going to be people who try to profit on stuff. There's going to be people who try to maneuver and are trying to push you down one path and make you see something that's not really there, or make you believe something. There's going to be that type of stuff. And then you can't just be the full-on skeptic on things. You just can't. You should ask skeptic questions. You just can't be a full-on, the way that I look at things, and just a full-on doubter and hater and everything too, because it looks to me like it's just that's your shtick. So I don't really take you seriously if that's who you are. I like the people who ask the genuine questions. It's not it's cool not to, believe all the way through. It's just that when there are certain things that kind of line up, is like, there's something they're not telling us. Like, what is it? And where I stand, if again, even following my channel, I believe that there's stuff out there. I believe it is extraterrestrial stuff. I believe that it is interdimensional and all those types of things. I believe it because I just think that we as human beings just don't understand fully how quantum physics works. We don't understand how time and space works as much as we think we're the smartest thing in this galaxy. Like, what if we're the dumbest and we don't really know? It's just because we're here and we have computers and things. We go, oh, we're smart. We're not, but we're as smart as we can be. And I think that part of being that smarts like me, if you're being that smarts like me, if part of having those smarts is asking those questions and saying, what the hell is that thing that's bouncing back and forth there? What is that that's zooming across there? Why aren't we getting these NDAs to the people who actually work there that can do that? But what I will say over the course of, and again, my journey started on this. I've always had an idea and thoughts, but like the first one, I was hosting a show called Collider Live back in the day. There was that 2018 article that came out that really made me go, well, wait a minute. Maybe this is actually happening. This is real. And then you fast forward to like 2023 when I watched that 6-part documentary, and then randomly, right after I watched that, I think it was much of a week and a half, 2 weeks later, the David Grush, Ross Coldhart interview dropped, and then the hearing started, and then I've just been kind of locked in ever since. And more people, even since then, have been asking more questions about this stuff, and it's been out there more, and there's more, and it seems, even though I do feel like there should be way more coverage, there has been a ton more coverage, especially over the last year in the mass media than previously. And what I found pretty fascinating, our good friend Pavel sent this to me the other day, and Burchett tweeted this out, and other people have been tweeting this thing out, and Time just did a full article on this thing, and I wanted to discuss this, so check it out. Now I want to dive through some of this. America is finally taking extraterrestrials seriously. There was nothing much happening in Jerome and Benno Lauer's yard in Hamel, Mississippi on August 11th, 1948. It was noontime in the thick of summer, and the boys 10 and 8 were idly playing where they later described it. Something overhead caught their eyes. They looked up and their jaws dropped. Roughly 12 feet up in the air was a dull gray circular object about 1 foot thick and 2 feet in diameter, slowly descending between them. They stood transfixed as the object settled onto the ground, making a clattering sound like a metal hitting metal. The object rested there a moment and then began emitting a high-pitched whistle that to the boys sounded like a tea kettle. It spun in place once, then shot 20 feet into the air, hovered for a moment, ascended to 30 feet, maneuvering around the tree branches and telephone wires in its path, and finally it jetted out of sight. That's a little bit of the search right there from the actual story itself. Jerome and Benno ran inside and they told their parents what they had seen. Their father notified the only authority he could think of, R.R. Sheridan, local postmaster. Sheridan in turn called the FBI field office in St. Paul. To the family's surprise, the Bureau sent an agent. He interviewed the boys and inspected the yard. The spot where the alleged flying saucer had landed was approximately 2 feet in diameter and appeared as though a heavy object had landed there or had touched down, read the statement in the official report. The ground was dented and protruding rocks had been leveled. Talk about kind of what happened for a little bit. Like they grew up, they moved on, nothing came of it. And then they said in May of 2026, Donald Trump began a serial release of the 4 tranches of more than 450, now 5, going back to the middle of the last century, ordering that they be posted on a Department of Defense website and made available for public perusal. After decades of secrecy, stigma, and sometimes silliness, like the conspiratorial tales about recovered spacecraft and aliens remains at a place called Area 51, the government has at long last begun taking things seriously. What used to be called UFOs are now calling UAPs, are being given the full investigatory treatment. Congressional hearings into the origins of the sightings were held in 2022 and 2023 at Arrow. And in December 2023, Joe Biden signed into law the UAP Disclosure Act, requiring the collection, review, and public disclosure of all sightings and encounters. The White House also established the UAP Science Advisory Council, which is the one run by Avi Loeb. And talk kind of inside this article, just kind of break down everything that's been happening lately. But it's a measure of the growing public interest in the phenomena and the mounting evidence that something is out there and more serious people are willing to take that risk. Even President Barack Obama weighed in on the topic. In a February interview, Obama was asked if extraterrestrial life exists, and he responded, "They're real, hastened to add, but I haven't seen them. They're not being kept at Area 51. There's no underground facility unless this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States." Obama added that he based his belief in the likelihood of extraterrestrial beings in the part of the fact that statistically the universe is so vast that the odds are good that there's life out there. Now, here's an interesting thing. According to a poll conducted by the Disclosure Foundation just weeks before the Capitol Hill Forum, 84% of respondents want more information from the government on UAPs. 69% believe that UAPs are real. 59% support hearings and transparency. And just 20% trust the federal government to be telling the complete truth. The responses are bipartisan. A statistically meaningless 1% separates the whopping 89% of Republicans and 88% of Democrats who say they want more information on UAPs. This is interesting too, right? You could be a single issue candidate running in the U.S. It says that single issue could be UAP transparency, and you could get elected just based off of that. Unlike other single issues like taxation, immigration, climate, which unfold indefinitely over decades, UAP transparency has a fixed endpoint. The government will tell all it knows, the sightings will be investigated, and the origins will be determined to be terrestrial, highly advanced military or other assets, or extraterrestrial. My null hypothesis would be that these are human-made objects being operated by adversarial nations near strategic assets of the U.S., says Loeb. Is that what he's saying now? I don't. And if they're not, if they do come from somewhere else, that would be the biggest discovery ever made by humanity. There's a lot more to that Time article as well. You should dive into that too. But I think that's just I think it goes back to my point that more things are being covered on this, and more things they're trying to get answers for this. I know. Interesting that Avi Loeb said that. He's usually the one that saying he thinks he found, alien artifacts in the ocean, whatever. And that's his hypothesis, or what he's saying. But I just 1947, they have in 40s, 50s the same things over nuclear things, and other countries have had this technology for that long, and we've never figured it out, or we haven't, and we just haven't said anything to the public about it, but we're aware that they had it. Why haven't they ever used it before? Outside of, just zipping around here and there. Oh, look, it's lights. Like, what are they doing? Is it anything that can be, and why over those things are Jersey and other things? It just doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up. And you see it in other countries. It's not just here. It's other countries that's happening. It's happening in China. It's happening in Australia. It's happening it's happening in Russia. It's happening everywhere. So I don't know if I buy that either. But anyway, the topic is being covered more. The fact that we got this information today about the more of the files and the footage, I will ask you guys this when it comes to the footage itself. Do you think that this footage is the best of it? Or are we going to actually find something that comes out in one of these files that you'll release that one? It's time. And then that's it. I feel like it's going to be more of the same. But the conversation is going to keep going. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Appreciate you being here, and we'll see you on the flip side.